Sybil. Welcome back to episode 3, part 2 of the Book of Dad and Sybil. This is our second part for Odd and the Frost Giant. We'll start with a quick recap from Sybil for what you might have missed in part 1, if indeed you are not listening to part 1 first, which I would really query why. It's a very strange point to join the podcast and be a first-time listener in episode 3, part 2. But anyway, for the benefit of you. Yeah.
Alright, so it starts with Odd. That is your main character. And he is brought up in quite an unlucky family. His father dies. His mum marries a man whose ex-wife dies because of lightning. Then an everlasting winter comes. So he decides to peace out and goes to live in his father's hut. Now, one morning, a fox leads him to a bear, and all the while an eagle is following them.
And they are?
So when they get back to hut, Odd hears that they are, in fact, the bear is Thor, the fox is Loki, the eagle is Odin. And so they've told them their stories of how they were trapped in the body of animals and they need to get back. So they set off for Asgard. Mm-hmm. And
they get there by the Bifrost, so they make a rainbow in a puddle and Odin flies into the puddle, and that's where we pick up. Okay, so here's where we rejoin the story. So this is the first time that Odd, we're in our next chapter, which is the Well of Mimir. We'll talk a little bit about Mimir later on. This is the first time that Odd seems to be a little bit out of his element here. He seems... he really wishes that he was back in Midgard, which seems a bit strange because for the rest of the story...
He hates winter.
He does hate winter.
He doesn't like anyone in the village except his mum.
Yeah. But still, clearly this feels very strange to him. Everything in Asgard looks more real, and it describes it being smelling alive, which I'm not sure what that means.
It's like smelling more nature.
Yeah, I think
grass,
yeah. Like you're in a forest and everything's turned up to 11.
11?
Yeah. If 10's your maximum volume, you turn it up to 11.
Crank it up.
Yeah, crank it up indeed. So all the smells have been cranked up, which when you're travelling with a really big bear, actually, I don't think I want the smells cranked up.
Ugh.
It's giving me stinky vibes. So all of the animals get bigger. So the Tom Hiddleston fox is almost as big as Odd. His ears come up to Odd's chest. The eagle's wingspan is described as the sails of a long ship.
I'd hate that. I prefer big birds.
Yeah. We've had some incidences with geese and geese getting a bit aggy with you, haven't we?
And I'm going on a trip to a lake with geese and swans and ducks.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get involved in your sort of activity, so I think...
They don't like me and I don't like them.
As you can tell, there's a lot of animosity between the two camps here. The eagle, big wingspan, and the bear is now the size of Odd's father's hut.
Oh my gosh.
Everything in the way that this is all described feels super expansive. Everything feels very grand while they're in Asgard.
So the next, they make a fire, which surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, the fox lights with his breath. And that's just...
Yeah, so it turns out the animals are magic now because we're in Asgard.
So Loki explains this is because Asgard is less solid than the world that Odd comes from.
Yeah, so I guess that the gods have more control over it, is what he means.
Wizards.
So, while Loki and Odd have been making the fire, Thor Bear has been out fishing, and he brings back the largest trout that Odd has ever seen. Odd makes a spit for the trout, and the trout gets roasted. All the fish in this book sounds amazing.
Especially... with some fried / roasted / mashed, or just boiled potatoes.
Just any potatoes, yeah.
With maybe he fried potatoes mixed with mash.
Oh yeah, I could
mixed
go for
with
that.
peas.
You wouldn't think that we've literally just finished our tea when we're recording this. So actually, this level of hunger is probably not merited. So everybody's had a big feed. The bear eats the most. The eagle eats just the head. The fox eats the trout's guts. So everybody gets what they want.
I don't want to eat its guts. I don't want to eat its eyes. Maybe Owen wants to eat its eyes to get his eye back.
Oh, could be. Or just that he's an eagle and he likes fish head.
Alright, so Odd and the bear ride off for some reason and come across a pool, which is quite important, which the bear says is fine to drink. What if it's got bacteria?
Yeah, well, I don't think they're that fussed about bacteria. I think, I feel I would be a bit ripped off if I went to Asgard and I had water from Asgard and I got some sort of bacterial infection. It feels like if you're in the god realm, you should have clean water.
Alright, so then they make a tree bed and rest. That sounds such a comfy bed, but such a comfy bed.
Oh, it would be horrendous, but the way that it's written in the book makes it sound wonderful.
It looks and sounds cozy.
Yeah, and I think
But it wouldn't be.
I think Odd is also kind of laying in with Thor, so he's like sort of laying half on the bear, which once again would be horribly smelly, but in the way it's written certainly comes across as incredibly comfortable.
And so the night Odd goes back to the pool and is greeted by a voice who asks him what he wants to see. I don't think he should reply to that. I mean, if a voice just came behind me, I'd be running for miles.
Yes, although Odd he seems a bit fearful because he thinks that he might have done something wrong by drinking at this pool.
Yeah,
but
and you can't run anyway.
No, but the voice comforts him and says, "Well, no, you've not done anything wrong."
Okay, so Odd is shown a series of visions. His father and mother playing a game with him as a child, which is, if you want to know, lying to man's bluff. Mm-hmm. And the frost giant is described as having icicles and a beard and a hair like the pattern of frost. The writing about magical things is just fantastic. Everything feels just like grand and just exquisite.
Yeah, it does feel really different to the writing when they're in Midgard. Everything, it feels like he's let loose a little bit with his descriptive passages here. The next vision is his mother crying in the Great Hall. His mother hasn't really had a voice in this story at all. I don't actually think she's...
Does she even like Fat Alfred?
I don't know if she does or doesn't.
Or did she just want to marry someone to get the money? And to live.
Security, yeah, I think more than anything. But yeah, I don't think at any point has really considered his mum in this.
It's just a bit at the start, oh yeah, she's Scottish.
She's Scottish and she sings.
Oh yeah, my dad's eyes.
Yeah. So he then sees the land of the giants, Jotunheim, where the frost giants haul rocks, eat great elks, and dance beneath the moon. Elk, like a big moose. But in this case, a giant elk.
Chocolate moose.
Not a chocolate moose.
A moose, an elk moose with chocolate drops in it. And it's melted. That's chocolate mousse.
Yes.
Except we're not talking about moose.
We're not talking about that moose, no. We're not even talking about moose, actually. We're talking about elks. I just wanted to give you something that was close-ish. And the last thing that he sees is his father storming up the beach in Scotland, and Odd knows that is when he is about to meet Odd's mother, and Odd suddenly has. Yeah. Odd suddenly has a burst of inspiration, and he takes the lump of wood from his pocket that he found in his father's hut, and he starts to carve it. And it's not revealed to us yet what has been carved, just that he has finished the carving.
So Forebear seems to have shrunk, but as it turns out, actually Odd has grown because he drank from Mimir's well, and...
Yeah, so Mimir...
And what is Mimir?
Mimir is a Norse mythological character. He's one of the Vanir, who are another group in Norse mythology, and they have... Mimir is renowned for his wisdom and his knowledge. He actually, in a war between the Aesir, that's the gods of Asgard, and the Vanir, that's the people from a place called Vanaheim, he gets his head chopped off by Odin, and Odin keeps his head around because it's so clever, which I think would be great for a quiz. I think if you're going to a pub quiz on the evening and you had Mimir's head in your backpack and he's whispering the answers to you, I think you're winning. And you win, I don't know, what, the £75 that you win at a pub quiz.
But would it really know about modern pop music?
Well, I think, yeah, but he's a magical mythological creature. I reckon he'd know everything.
Every decade, it just new information.
He's also just a head, so I could sit him next to lots of radios if I want him to know lots about pop music. And he can't really do anything about it.
Pop music.
Well, he's not got a body to take himself away from it, so...
It would just roll the head.
Roll the head
On the floor. Alright, so we've learned that the giants really like the god Freya, and it's said lots of times.
Yeah, so...
and if you don't know, Freya is the goddess of cats.
Do you think she's like a fertility goddess, but she has...
Yes, cats.
We're going to meet, not feline fertility, as in like a goddess of fertility. She's one... And she does... The cat link is that she has a carriage which is pulled by cats.
Yes, cats.
Yes, cats.
I said cats.
You did say cats. You said cats quite a lot, actually.
Cats the musical.
Yeah, so I think Thor says that every time that the giants have come from Jotunheim into Asgard, at some point they've tried to get many different things. They've tried to get Thor's hammer, they've tried to get the sun and the moon.
They tried to get Freya.
But every time they've also tried to get Freya. Even when they're getting Thor's hammer, he's like, well, I'm going to get Thor's hammer and Freya. I'm going to get the sun and the moon and Freya.
Freya's under a lot of pressure just for being beautiful.
And what do we learn about Loki?
So we learn that Loki was actually the smart. So Loki wasn't actually born like a god.
No, he's not one of the Aesir. Not one of the Asgardian gods.
He was actually born a frost giant, and he was the smallest. And he ended up saving Odin's life. We don't actually know. Wait.
It was in...
he distracted someone.
He saves Odin from being killed by Laufey, who's the king of the frost giants in
more
certain stories.
Please don't ask us.
Oh, this is the point to give a big shout out to one of the Icelandic authors of some of the sagas, Snorri Sturluson.
Imagine having a name called Snorri.
Hi, what's your name? I'm Snorri Sturluson. So there are lots of with all sorts of big mythologies. The Norse mythologies have lots of different versions that have been penned and authored by different people, but Snorri Sturluson was one of the kind of major Icelandic saga writers at the time, and really I'm only mentioning him because yes, I like his name a lot. So the gods and Odd travel to the gates of Asgard, and Odd's plan here is to go on alone because he doesn't want the frost giants to learn that the three gods have returned. And that takes us on to our next chapter.
It's called The Gates of Asgard. And in this, a lot happens. Right, so at the gates, Odd is introduced to the concept that the frost giants might eat him. He cheerfully points out that if he doesn't come back, then the gods are no worse off. And here he sees the first frost giants sitting guard at the gates of Asgard, which turn out to be absolutely huge. And another shout out to the illustrator Chris Riddell for having the best illustration on the page. Yeah,
it's really, really good. I think that maybe later on one of our episodes might be another set of books that Chris Riddell, which is the Deepwood Chronicles. He illustrated them as well. So a big fan of Chris Riddell's illustrations.
And also completely unrelated to the Odd and the Frost Giants. But we will also be looking at season 4 events in the future.
Yes.
Because I love the series of books.
Yes, absolutely. So he reaches the gates, and it turns out there's actually only one frost giant. So the frost giants plural are still back in Jotunheim. We just have the one frost giant singular sitting at the gates. So carry on with that, Sybil.
So the giant's voice tumbled out across the plain like an avalanche.
So that's a quote. I really enjoyed that one.
So Odd gives his name and smiles. Why would you give your name to a person you don't know that could eat you? I think I'd give that last when I probably trust them. Yeah,
are you ever really going to trust a frost giant that could smush you or eat you?
Nope.
No. It's all part of Odd's excellent plan.
Mm-hmm. So Odd, he smiles. Things the frost giant thinks Odd could be a god, a troll, or another quote which hope Odd isn't hearing this. It's actually quite offensive. Some kind of walking corpse.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So Odd tells the giant that he's here to drive away the frost giants, and then smiles again. The smile, obviously we mentioned this in the first episode, is that one of the things that the villagers find quite weird about him is that he, regardless of what's going on, he just smiles in every situation. He's just got that real positivity regardless of what is actually going on. The giant, Odd, kind of keeps very calm, keeps smiling. They argue over why Odd can't drive away the frost giants. And the giant becomes increasingly more frustrated. Eventually, Odd uses his most annoying smile, which he says...
Cheese!
Yeah, just for our audio medium, Sybil is giving a very Wallace and Gromit-esque smile, I would say. Which could be the smile that Odd gives. Oh, we're getting a lot of front teeth in that smile. Yeah. Odd says that this is the sort of smile that in the village would have normally got him hit. So Odd, I think, because the giant loses his temper and shouts at Odd, it turns out that the giant actually can change his voice. So the voice rolling across the plain like an avalanche, he can turn that on and off, and he can just talk normally.
Hello.
But he loses his temper. He's and Odd becomes very teacher coded here. I think like a teacher that's dealing with a very hacked off student. Sybil, what does he say?
And he folds his cardigan and says, "I can hear you fine without you shouting."
Yeah, that's it.
No, thank you. we will not tolerate that in our classroom.
No, so yeah, Odd absolutely won't tolerate this in his classroom. He will be making a phone call home to the Frost Giant's parents and just having a chat about his behaviour, because that's not acceptable in this establishment. Okay, can you take us on, Sybil?
Okay, so Odd asks why the giant wants to rule Asgard, and he tells Odd the tale of his brother. Built the wall, and if he did it within 6 months, only then would he be paid, which I think is a lot to ask. So this is what Loki was turned into a few times earlier.
Yeah, Loki mentions this earlier in the story, that he says that if they stay as animals for too long, that they will lose all.
If they stays.
If they stays. If they stays as animals is, for too long, they'll lose their sense of self. And Thor and Odin remind him of the time when he transformed into a mare, which is a female horse.
I thought it was just like a couple of grey downs from a king or queen.
A mare.
Yeah, mare.
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 Okay, so what does the mare do?
So the mare distracts the horse by hauling the stones for the giant. When the giant complains, Thor kills him with his hammer.
So Odd already knows this, but he asks the giant what payment the giant's brother was asking for, and the giant gets a little bit shifty now, and he kind of shuffles a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, it's just stuff. Just wanted some stuff." Odd has already been told by Thor earlier that this giant wanted the sun, the moon, and, as we mentioned previously, every time Freya. They want Freya.
There's a Freya in my class.
Not the goddess.
Yes. Yeah. She likes cats though. Alright, so Odd again asks why the giant's brother wanted these things. After getting a bit agitated again, the giant lifts Odd up to his mouth and whispers, "Booty. Beauty."
Do you reckon he said it like that?
Booty. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay.
It's not beautiful in Jotunheim. Is that how you say it? Jotunheim. Just frozen and desolate.
So Odd.
Woe is me.
Boo-hoo-hoo. There's a lot of boo-hoo-hoo from this giant. He is a bit of a whinge. So Odd tells him that spring won't come to Midgard, and the giant goes, "Well, fine, why should I care about that?" And Odd says, "Well, if you came here for beauty, all the beauty and all the life will die if spring doesn't come." But the giant, once again, he just kind of goes on, he blushes, he doesn't care. And anyway, he beat the gods, he tricked Loki, he bested Thor, and can't remember what he says about Odin, turned him into an eagle. And that he deserves this victory.
Definitely. So slowly but surely, the giant admits that he doesn't think the other giants will come down because they didn't think he would succeed, and they all have lives to lead. And even though Freya is beautiful, she is always angry, which probably because he's kidnapped her.
Yeah, I think that's a bit unfair to say, "Oh, she's always angry," when you're the person who's just invaded her kingdom and said that you're going to be her husband without any sense of choice.
She gets angry.
Oh, and what's the worst thing? What's the biggest boo-hoo-hoo?
So, biggest boo-hoo is, drumroll please. The cats that pull a carriage. They made a little boo-boo. They scratched his finger.
Oh, poor Poppet. Poor Poppet. So, yeah, the giant's very upset. He's got a scratched finger. As it turns out, even though Freya's really beautiful, but she really shouts, and apparently she's louder than a giantess when she gets angry.
Louder than a giantess?
Than a giantess, as in a female giant. So Odd, he's
smart.
Yeah, he's got a plan, and he starts to convince the giant that he should return home. Odd now pulls out his mystery carved item. The story then says that in the future, when the gods retell this, they have differing ideas as to what it is, and none of the gods quite know what the thing is. Some think that it's a perfect copy of Thor's hammer that the giant gets scared of and runs away. However, Odd begins to tell the giant the story of his father, who stole his mother from her home because he wanted her beauty, and kind of
like a frost giant.
Yeah, kind of sees the parallels between how the frost giant's acting and how his father acted in that moment. It turns out that actually the carving that his father had started and Odd was then able to finish was of his mother. And he offers this to the giant as a thing of beauty, which the giant accepts, and then the giant returns to Jotunheim and in a blizzard that he creates to cover his tracks.
Let me just say here, when was the mud Mum and Dad created? When?
That's a really good question.
They never say that in the stories. It's never, my mum did this. No, it's, my mother did this.
Well, I think mother sounds a bit more formal, doesn't it? And I think for an older story, I think that fits. But it's a good question. I don't know when the terms mum and dad came to prominence.
I mean, it started with,
Okay, so we go on to our next chapter.
That is 4 transformations and a meal. So the Odin/Eagle finds Odd at the top of the wall, bringing him Loki's magical flying shoes. So Odd can't step off until the eagle flies directly and forcing him to finally step off into thinner. I would just not do it. I'm scared of heights.
Yeah, but you've got magical flying shoes now.
I'm still scared.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, Odd is as well. It only takes the eagle flying directly at him for him to actually step back. But then he realises that, oh, actually, I'm floating in air on these shoes.
I'd be shaking. So he goes down the wall and meets Freya and her cat carriage. See? And Freya turns the 3 gods back into their original forms. And Freya opens up Odd's leg. I think Freya and the mother goat has something in common. They are both certified doctors.
Oh yeah, the mother goat from our first story.
Yeah, with magical hooves.
Yeah, magical hooves. Yeah, I don't think Freya's got hooves for hands, but yeah, absolutely.
She's magical. And the bone is so smashed she cannot fix it. But she rearranged the fragments so they can sit in the right place at least. She offers him a cat's rear leg or a chicken leg, which feel like quite weird offers.
Yeah, I feel like if you can offer any type of leg and you are being offered, you're going, oh, would you like the rear leg of a cat? Oh, no, I'm okay, thank you. Oh, well, would you like a chicken leg? Oh, actually, no, I think I'm all right.
What if someone ripped my crutches out? One leg is going to be shorter. Unless you have
Well, you would hope it would be to scale.
Yes.
But there's no guarantee. I actually, one of the things that I missed out when I wrote the notes for this episode was that she actually unhooks his leg at the knee. So she takes she somehow manages to take his leg off at the knee.
How painful would that be?
Well, she's magic, so I don't think he can feel anything. He says it looks like she's just taken something off off a hook. But one of the things with this is he is able to. He still limps, but it doesn't hurt him in the same way that it used to. So she has done some good, and she says that in time things will start to heal. So she's basically realigned all of the bone fragments.
She certified doctor.
Yeah.
Right.
So they have a feast. Loki gets drunk and starts being a bit leery and has to be escorted out. And Odd thinks to himself that...
Never change.
He's not really learned anything. And Freya, who is being slightly invasive and reading his mind, points out that none of them can really change, and that's part of being a god.
So next, Odin gives Odd his staff, which is very generous. And Odin is sometimes called the Wanderer, who likes to travel for long periods of time in the form of an old man, which quite suits him. And Odd feels like he could travel far with
the staff, yeah.
Yeah. So Odin then transports Odd back down the Bifrost.
He actually does this by taking up a small sphere of water and asking Odd to look into it. And a bit like the puddle, as Odd looks into this sphere of water, he feels himself being drawn into it, and he ends up back in Midgard.
What's a movie that I use that I like to go
Maybe like
Space Jam.
Yes, there is Space Jam. Michael Jordan being pulled through the Looney Tunes logo. Oh no, it's the golf hole, isn't it? The golf hole, or a bit like the portkeys in Harry Potter, because when you touch that item, it looks like they've been pulled into it, doesn't it? So we're into our last chapter now, which is called Afterwards, which I think it's quite short and sweet, really. It's a nice way to round everything out. So Odd returns to his village. He has retained his growth in size from drinking at Mimir as well, even though he's back in Midgard. He's like markedly bigger than he was. He goes and knocks on Fat Elfred's cottage. We're still calling him Fat Elfred in the book.
Sorry for him.
He's not just Elfred. He hears Elfred walking towards the door. They shout, "Who is it?" And he shouts, "It's Odd." And Elfred then starts to bluster about. He says, "Oh, I'm gonna, give him the telling off of his life. Oh, salmon thief." He's really hacked off at the side of salmon that Odd stole still. He then finds out that Odd is actually huge and suddenly loses all of his confidence. Odd finds that his mother's actually left Elfred's house because Elfred refused to go and look for Odd, and returned to the old house that Odd used to live in with his mother and his father before he died, on the other side of the village. So Odd walks across, and as he walks across, he considers now that, oh, well, actually, I'm physically much stronger, and they'd probably be really happy to have me on any long ship. And I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I brought a passenger. And with that, he goes and he knocks on his mother's door. And before she can say anything, he says, would you like to go to Scotland? Yes, for a while at least. And she acquiesces, and then that's how the story ends. So all ties off. They're just beautiful. Ties off quite neatly. So gonna get to our ratings now. Okay. So once again, score out of 5. Would we recommend it to our age group? Absolutely. So Sybil, do you want to start us off? I would definitely do it to like people around my age, because it's just it has the right mixture of action, adventure, fantasy, and just. It's quite a funny book as well, I think. Yeah, funny and just it's like sad and happy at the end. Yeah, absolutely. Happy tears. What would you give it out of 5? I'd say 5. Yeah. I think I would give it a 4.75 out of 5. Why that specific? Well, because I'm thinking that I gave the Wolf and the 7 Kids, I gave that 4.5, and I gave The Mouse, the Bird and the Sausage 5, and I want to go somewhere in between. And I feel like the only thing that is missing out here is a bit more of a prominent role for the mother, at least at the beginning of the story, where I feel like she's a little bit forgotten. But in all fairness, it is written that like this book moves at a really good pace. It's relatively short. It just keeps moving really quickly. So maybe it's that there's not enough time to dwell on too many characters. But I would, once again, going from a parent's point of view, I'd absolutely recommend it as one to read. The chapters are quite short, so it'd be a really good bedtime book for slightly younger kids. And it's funny, and Norse mythology is really fascinating. And this book manages to... It might bring you into a new hobby. Yeah. Norse. Yeah, there's loads and loads and loads of different Norse stories that you could follow up from this. Right, so unfortunately this is the end of today's episode, and don't worry, we will be doing 2 more short stories before our longer one, and as you probably already guessed, each long story is going to be split up into 2. Or potentially 3 or 4, it really depends on how long the book is. And what we need to do to keep these as close to half an hour as we can. Although, as I say that, I know that we've gone over 30 minutes today. But I think we'll get away with it.
So next two stories are going to be the Pack of Ragamuffins, and no, as we've been informed, it's not about a ragdoll eating a muffin. And then the next one is one I'm actually looking forward to. It's Rapunzel, but the Brothers Grimm version.
Yeah, both of the next two little stories that we'll do are Brothers Grimm, because that's a pretty rich trove of weird and wonderful stories. I think as we go a bit further on, I want to bring some different short stories to the table. But for the next two, we're gonna dive back into the Brothers Grimm, because we had a lot of fun with the first two episodes, and we will reveal in those either in the next or the one of those next two episodes what our next long read will be. So thank you very much, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.